started. If you want coaching, go ahead and raise your hand so I can see who's in the queue. I've noticed lately, and maybe it's not on purpose, but sometimes you guys won't raise your hand because somebody else has their hand raised. That's okay. I just want to, if you want coaching, please raise your hand. Don't wait for somebody to be done because otherwise I don't know how much time I have left to wrap things up or get things moving, or should I talk about something else? So if you want coaching, please raise your hand. Before we get to coaching, there's a couple questions I had come in, and let me also run to my forms here just to double check that. Okay. First, so let me see who's all here just to see if Kristen. I think it was Kristen who wanted to talk about baseball, right? If I have the right Kristen. Kristen, if that's no, I have two different Kristens. So you spell your names different. So that's maybe a different Kristen. Okay. So let's talk about someone asked me to go further into deciding how do we know if like when we're asking our stress awareness questions. So let's talk about our stress awareness questions. How do I know I'm stressed? So what are the things that you are doing that would indicate to you or somebody else that you're stressed? So this might be yelling at your kids. It might be being very reactive. For me, I will start swearing, especially when I'm driving, or become very impatient when I drive. And then I will also, every time I walk past my freezer, I grab a piece of dark chocolate, right? So these are actions that are signals to me that I'm trying to soothe my nervous system, that my nervous system is feeling like unnerved or on edge, and I'm seeking relief. And then where do I feel stress in my body? And I want you to stop and ask yourself that, because if we just look at our actions all the time and we never actually create a mind-body connection, how do we ever expect to stop it sooner than later? So I want you to ask yourself, where do I actually feel stress in my body? So sometimes I'll feel it in my throat. Sometimes you'll feel it in your chest or down in your sacral, maybe in your hips, your shoulders, your masseters, so the muscle right here in your jaw. Where do I feel it in my body? And then why am I stressed? So this is a big question that you don't want to skip over, because why am I stressed is going to take you from constantly like being in the passive seat and seeing everything else around you as the problem, and allow you to take the authority on why this is a problem for you. Because the truth is, like, we can blame all of the circumstances around us, and that will never change anything for you in your life. The only time you actually get to change it is when you start to see yourself as the most gentle way that I can say this is that as the problem. You are seeing something as a problem for you. You are creating it to be an issue for you. Why are you perceiving this to be an issue for you, right? So just a normal day-to-day example. Let's say I'm feeling stressed, and let me mute my phone. Hold on. I'm feeling stressed and I am rushing to an appointment. I'm in my car, I'm swearing, and I am feeling a little road ragey. I'm probably driving too fast. And then I'm sitting there blaming my son for not getting his poop in a group, and for like not listening to me when I told him to put his shoes on, not listening to me when I told him to do XYZ, not getting out of bed on time, like whatever it is. And so I'm blaming him. If he would do these things, then I could feel better. And that's not true. The truth is, you are feeling pressure to escape the current feeling of being rushed, of feeling pressure, of feeling discomfort in your body. Why do you feel that discomfort? Why do you feel that pressure? Why do you feel rushed? Because I don't want to be late. Why don't you want to be late? Because then I look like I am, like flustered. I look like I don't have my shit together. I look like I can't do things right. I can't be dependable. It plays on my character. I don't want to be known as a late person, or I don't want to cause discomfort for other people. I don't want to be the reason somebody else has to be behind. I don't want somebody to wait for me, right? And so then we're taking that and we're making it mean something about us, right? My son, right? We're blaming my son because he didn't put his shoes on. He didn't get out of bed on time. But what it really is about is that I don't want people to perceive me a certain way. I don't want to perceive myself a certain way. And that's the problem. It's not because my son didn't put his shoes on. It's not because my son didn't get out of bed. It's because I don't want to be perceived a certain way. And then you want to ask yourself, is that the problem? Right? So not putting my kid putting his shoes on is not the problem. Is it a problem that I'm worried about how people will perceive me? Is it a problem that I'm perceiving myself as flustered and I can't get my shit together? And that's where you want to spend your time. Is this a problem? So then from there, you can say, okay, is it a problem that I don't want people to perceive me as flustered or flaky or chronically late? Maybe we want to ask ourselves, is that true? And is it a helpful thing to go into this, right? So you can ask yourself a little bit more deeper questions. So, is it true that I'm chronically a late person? I mean, honestly, for me, no, it's not true. This one off instance where maybe we had a rough morning, it means nothing about me, right? It just means that my morning didn't go the way I thought it would go. And I'm having a human experience. And actually, I don't want to spend more time on this problem and I want to let it go. And then that's when you just start to let it go. Because you can see, like, this isn't worth my time and my energy and my stress response to spend more time in this, to spend more energy worrying about this, and to be more ragey at my son because he didn't put his shoes on time. Um, Now, let's say you are chronically late. You really can't seem to get your shit together. You do seem like this is a thing that happens to you often. And then you ask yourself, is this a problem? Maybe it is a problem for you. And now you know where to actually spend your energy, spend your time. And now you can sit down and like go through this in a grounded way instead of like spending energy yelling at your kid because he didn't put his shoes on. Now you can see this is an internal issue. I can't seem to get my shit together. I can't seem to get somewhere on time. What can I do about that? How can I change that? Right? So maybe there's practical things that you would do. So maybe you would get up earlier. Maybe you would set your alarm. Maybe you would actually schedule things out more appropriately in your calendar. For me personally, one of the reasons why I used to be late. I went through a time in my life where I was late all the time. Um, and I'm not anymore. One of the reasons is because of my time blocking that I teach you in module 6, that I always put in travel time for myself. I always put more than enough time that I need to get from point A to point B. And when I do that, miraculously, I get there on time. So I leave when my calendar says I need to leave. I don't push it. I don't say 5 more minutes. I leave when my calendar tells me to leave. And somehow now, just miraculously, I'm arriving on time to places. So that is how we go through those questions. Is this a problem? You want to ask yourself, is this an actual problem of myself? Is this a problem that I want to solve of myself? Because we can't go around micromanaging other people. If it is, then work on that. Reverse engineer that. But if it's not, then let it go because you're spending time on something that doesn't actually matter to you. One of the purposes of this is deciding what matters to you and what doesn't matter to you. So many times we're spending time and energy on things that don't matter and they're taking up space for you, and that takes up space and for things that don't matter. And that leaves less space for you to do the things that you need to be doing to take care of yourself. Okay, so use these questions because they are very helpful for you. So that's where I'm going to go with the question of, is this a problem? How you work your way through that. And Rachel said, so she was doing great on tracking her foods, and then she fell into self-sabotage. because she was in a slump. So one thing we want to ask ourselves is a slump. What does a slump mean? When I think of a slump, and I don't think Rachel is here. Let me just double check. No, I don't see her. So when I think of a slump, it's probably a low energy state, maybe more crabby, maybe more irritable, maybe have less sleep, just like things aren't just like feeling easy. Things aren't feeling maybe intuitive. It requires a little bit more oomph and energy from you. And so one thing about a slump is the slump is completely normal. And if we were to ask ourselves the stress awareness questions about a slump, it's not a problem. It's actually just part of the experience. So if we want to be unslumpy all the time, that's unrealistic. We're not going to have that. We have to allow for human experiences in this journey. If we're not going to allow for human experiences, we're going to be really disappointed in ourselves. We're going to be really disappointed in this entire experience. We're going to be really disappointed in this entire program that we're in. So we want to realize slumps are normal. We don't have to solve for slumps. We can just let slumps simply be there and not try to push them away. Just let them be there. It's fine. I'm not interested in doing this today, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, and also the sabotage, self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is a word that feels very, actually, it's an indulgent, what is it called? It's an indulgent, harmful word. So it's an indulgent way that it feels like it's kind of sexy. Oh, I'm self-sabotaging myself again. Oh, I just can't do this. Oh, there's something inherently wrong with me. And it's harmful because it validates something that you believe about yourself. I am somebody who sabotages. And so when you find yourself doing a sabotage behavior, then you go into the cycle of your old belief. Oh, look at, there she is. She showed up again. Looks like I can't do this. Looks like I don't have it this time. Looks like the hope that I had is all gone. Right? So look at ways to stop where you're repeating patterns of the past, right? Pause, look at them. Why is this actually happening? It's not because of a slump. It's not because this is inherently who you are. Why is this happening? Instead of a self-sabotage, what I actually want you to start to reframe is self-preservation, self-protection. Because our nervous system is always going to make sure that we are okay and that we are safe. And it does this when we're experiencing something new. So you're getting into the habit of tracking your food, you're getting into the habit of going to bed earlier, managing your stress, whatever the thing is. And then you feel a little slumpy, and then you start to go back a little bit. And that's your brain being like, this is new. I don't know about this. I'm unsure. We're not somebody who does new things very well. Let's take a couple steps back. And also we're going to make it mean that like you don't feel like it today, that there's something wrong with you, right? We're just going to nudge that in there just to like seal this in, that I don't think you're actually cut out for this, right? That's self-protection. That's self-preservation. Your body is always looking to protect you. Your mind is always looking to protect you. You don't have to let that mean that that's actually a problem. You don't have to fight against it. You don't have to say, what's wrong with you, brain? What's wrong with you, body? Why can't you get your shit together? You just have to become aware and say, oh, I know what's happening now. I know that my body's just trying to protect me. I know my brain doesn't like to do new things. But this time, I'm just going to do it anyway. Because when you just do it anyway, you let go of some of that resistance, because resistance is actually more energy than just doing the damn thing anyway. Let go of some of that resistance. You all of a sudden have energy to do the thing. You all of a sudden have a little more interest in doing the thing. Maybe you can call it motivation, call it what it is, right? Now you've made that available when you let go of that resistance to do something. Resistance costs far more energy than just doing the damn thing. So stop letting resistance be the reason you're not doing it. Resistance is actually a beautiful thing, right? We make it mean something bad, so we revert backwards. I want you to run towards resistance and do it anyway. Because when you reach resistance, you're actually reaching new capacity. You're reaching your threshold to do something that gets you to that next level instead of reverts back to where you were into your old self. We're working forward. We're not working backwards, right? How do you meet resistance and not go back? You meet resistance, you let it be there, you don't push it away, and you just keep going. And it can be a very easeful way to move past resistance. Just be like, okay, it's just there, right? So think about like a fence, right? Like a fence that you would have. I'm thinking of like my animal fence, right? So I have an animal fence out there. If I were trying to scale my animal fence, it would be kind of hard because it actually doesn't have like holes for my legs. It doesn't have like holes for my arms. I would have to like scale this fence. It would be really hard. And when we meet, that's what it's like when we meet resistance and we try to push it away. We try to figure it out. I can't get past this fence. This is so hard to get past this fence, right? That's resistance. That's you wasting time, wasting energy of trying how to get out of this fence. But actually, I could just walk around the corner. I could open the door and I could be inside the fence. That's what it's like to just move with resistance and let it feel easy. You do the thing anyway, right? I still got inside the fence. I still figured it out. I still went inside the fence, but I didn't make it hard. I didn't make it mean that because there's a fence there, I shouldn't go inside and feed my animals. Let the fence be there. Just use the door, right? Okay. And then let's talk about the baseball season coming up, or any sort of travel sports for your kids, basically. So, what I want you to do here is that it's very easy to go into, I'm supposed to be tracking my foods. I don't know what foods are going to be available to me, especially if we're going to be out of town. I don't know when I'm going to eat. I don't know what I'm going to eat. And we get stuck in the I don't knows. And what I want you to do is to move from I don't knows to what do you know? What can you count on? What are you actually in control of? And what aren't you in control of? So, what you're not in control of, you just let it go, right? Like, we can't sit here and micromanage things we're not in control of. That's a total waste of energy and resources. What are you in control of when you're away from your home and you're choosing your foods? Well, you're probably aware, or you're probably in control of things like snacks, of choosing what you eat off of menus, of what you could bring with you and store in a cooler or store in a refrigerator. Um, and choosing ahead on menus if you know you're going to be eating out. So if you can find a menu online, find a menu online. And then before you get there, I want you to choose your foods ahead of time. When you choose your foods ahead of time, before you get there and you're really hungry and everything smells amazing, especially that big juicy cheeseburger that just walks past, then you're going to choose with your prefrontal cortex. And that's going to make a choice that makes sense for you and your goals, right? So it's going to make a sense that, a big juicy cheeseburger with French fries and a milkshake is probably not going to be beneficial for my goals and my energy and for me feeling much of anything later on in the day. But maybe I could look for some chicken breast on there. Maybe I could look for some greens. Maybe I could look for a side of veggies. Maybe I could look for a baked potato instead of French fries. Maybe I could order that big juicy cheeseburger and cut it in half. And I could listen to my hunger cues. So use your hunger scale, 0 to 10. 0 is starving. You don't want to be there, way too hungry. That's why we want to bring snacks with us. 10, uncomfortably full, Thanksgiving style, can't move, gotta just let it pass. Don't go past a 3 to a 4 when it comes to hunger. Don't get to a 2 or a 1 or a 0 when you're away from home, because then your only options are gas station foods and concession stand foods, which means you're going to be eating Doritos and Sour Patch Kids. So bring your snacks with you so that you can kind of buffer some of that hunger. And then I want you to stop eating when you're about a 7 to an 8. And that means that you could eat more, but you don't have to. That you feel satisfied and you're getting 3 to 4 hours in between meals or snacks. So you get some longevity from that meal as well. So maybe like for me, I would oftentimes at a restaurant, I'll split a plate with my husband, not because I think I need to be like conserving and eating less, but because the amount of food that they give us is enough food for 2 people. And I'm never going to finish an entire meal anyway. And so that allows me to split it up and to not eat past my fullness and to not be super uncomfortable. Um, it also, my husband I shouldn't say enjoys eating healthy, but he wants to eat healthy. And so he will be more likely to be like, yeah, let's split something that makes sense so I don't feel like garbage later as well. So I have a buddy that's usually on the same plate as me, unless all of a sudden he's craving nachos and then it's all out the door, because we're both a sucker for nachos. But so, think about other ways that you can be in control over your food. Because if you go into the weekends thinking, I'm not in control over any of this, you're going to feel very out of control and your actions are going to be very out of control. So, I'm not going to give you a specific thing to do when you're away from your home. I am going to have you stop before you start getting into baseball season and really pause and think, what am I in control of? And how do I really want to show up for myself at these baseball games? What makes sense for me? And think about yourself in a year. You in a year, balanced, happy in your body, content, joyful, not a worry in sight about what you're eating and how you're eating it. What does she do? What does that version of you do when you're away from your home for the weekend at a baseball tournament? So I'll tell you what I would do, and then you can pick and choose what works for you. Because if you just want to, you know, copy and paste what I do, you're probably going to end up with some resistance and thinking this doesn't work. You have to make this work for you. This is your life that you are living. This is your health that you are creating. So I would make sure that if I'm staying out of town, I would look at the hotel and I would try to get a room with a refrigerator, and I would bring my breakfast for every day. So breakfast I feel like is the easiest thing that you can do. For also check out the hotel if they have continental breakfast. Now, some continental breakfasts are tip top notch, right? 5 star. Some are literal garbage. So that's a toss up. Like, what are you going to get? I don't know. Um, but take a look and see, do they have continental breakfast? If they do, maybe they even put that on their website on what they serve. And then on there, you can say, okay, I would eat that. So many times, if there's a continental breakfast, I'll have eggs off of that, even though sometimes I know that they came from a carton and it's very questionable, but it's at least some protein and it's some fat. I would look for some Greek yogurt on that continental breakfast, and I would look for some fresh fruit. You're going to usually find those things. And then sometimes you'll even get some better stuff on there. But what I would bring for my own breakfast, in case that didn't work out, is I would bring protein powder, I would bring fresh fruits, and I would bring like a portable, like a packet of peanut butter or almond butter or something like that that I can have with my fruit. And that way I'm getting some protein in right away, I'm getting a carbohydrate, and I'm getting a fat. And so that's going to give me some longevity. If I'm feeling, you know, pretty on top of things and very willing to go all in, I would bring my blender and I would freeze my smoothies in a freezer safe bag, and I would bring that with me. And then I would make sure that I have access to a fridge. You don't have to freeze it. It's okay. I would freeze it at home just so it stays cold enough till you get to your location, and then you can put it in the fridge. And then make sure and bring like usually hotels are going to have, it's so hard with some hotels. You don't know what you're going to get sometimes. But as far as like water goes, if you're worried about like having to take water from the bathroom, because I don't know if you're like me, but that icks me out. And I know it doesn't make sense. And I know it all comes from the same pipe, but it's weird. So I will bring like a gallon of my own water as well, so that I have, you have liquid to blend in your smoothie. Other things that I would bring Greek yogurt, I would bring nuts, I would bring more protein powder. I would rather have you eat more protein powder than normal on those types of weekends to get to your protein goal, to help with satiation so that you're not grabbing Sour Patch Kids and Doritos at the concession stand. Yeah, is having all protein powder during a day optimal? No, I will never tell you that you should be doing that. But also, if we're choosing between protein powder shake or Sour Patch Kids, I think I'm going to choose the protein powder shake, right? So choose the lesser of the evils here. Other things, you can hard boil your eggs and put them in a cooler and bring those with. You can do like chomps, beef sticks, or Nick sticks, bring those for snacks as well. Um, You can do like baby carrots in a baggie. You can also get like portable ranch containers. You can dip that. You can get some hummus and some pretzels. Those are in portable containers. So and also I would rather I would rather like load up on snacks that make me feel okay versus going to a concession stand or a gas station for my meals. That being said, if you go into Mindfully Well bonuses, there's travel guides in there, and there is one about flying, so you can use that at any point. But then there's one about gas stations, I believe, and I think that's actually on the same one. There's what to get at a gas station, and then other travel tips as well. So that is what I would do. I would make sure that I have my breakfast meal. Like I know what I'm going to have for breakfast. I would make sure that I have enough snacks to feed myself, that even if it's maybe going to be my lunch, that's okay with me. Oh, here's another one. Tuna packets. And then like Simple Mills crackers. I like those. I usually eat mostly gluten-free, so I use Simple Mill crackers, but you can get the tuna packets. And then when you go to a gas station, grab a mayo packet then you don't have to take your big old thing of mayo with you. And then you can just squirt a mayo packet in there, stir it up, and boom, you have nice little tuna salad and your crackers. It's portable. So that's what I would do. And then make sure you are bringing water to your games, or you know how you're going to refill your water bottle. For me, I would just have a bunch in my car so that I can refill my water bottle. I would bring my smoothies with me as much as I possibly can. Like my son is now in, it's not necessarily travel. Well, maybe it is travel ball. I don't know what I've gotten myself into, to be honest. Most of our tournaments are around Sioux Falls. So, but that being said, I live out in the country, and many times we're traveling 10, 15 miles out into town, and then we're not going to drive back in between tournaments for the most part. So that means I'm probably stuck in town on most weekends for at least 6 hours. Now, there's lots of places to eat in town, but do I necessarily want to be eating out on all those meals? I don't. So many times if I'm going to be at a tournament, so baseball, or I do wrestling in the wrestling season, so I'm well versed on wrestling, is that I always bring a pre-blended smoothie with me in a big old mason jar. I take my straw with and I put it in a little travel container. And then in the summer, I would keep it in a cooler, but in the winter, I don't really have to. And then when it's like a lunch or a dinner, instead of going to the concession stand, if we're at the game during mealtime, I'll just open up my smoothie and drink my smoothie. If you've ever been to a wrestling tournament and you've seen me, you've probably seen me open up a big old thing of a smoothie. Because I mean, I'm the only one there drinking a green smoothie. Everyone else is having pizza ranch pizza and nachos. And so I have no shame. I will open up my smoothie and drink my big old green smoothie there. And I just feel it's so much easier, and I feel so much better. So, well, I've been talking for a half hour. I didn't plan on it taking that long, but here we go. All right, Kayla.
Hey,
Hello, how are you?
good. So I had just a couple questions. One of them, I guess you kind of touched on just a minute ago with like kind of like you said with self-sabotaging was
Mhm.
one of them. Just because I feel like I've been like working out trying to lose weight basically since my baby was born, which he's 19 months.
Mhm.
And so like when I started this program in January, I'm like super motivated and I'm like, I'm gonna be like as perfect as I can and I'm gonna just like drop this weight. But
Mhm.
now I'm like actually in the fat loss stage. And I feel like I am just like all of a sudden like in a slump or as you were saying, like self-sabotage, not really, but I
Mhm.
just feel like I find myself like snacking on things or something comes up like it was just my son's birthday and then I'm like, okay, well I had cake and I had pizza and I didn't feel like I ate bad, but in my head, it makes me think that I probably won't see results because of when I do things like this.
Because of cake and pizza?
Mm-hmm.
So on his birthday, you had cake and pizza.
Yep.
Okay. Like when you think about eating the cake and the pizza, do you think you did anything wrong
The I
or
think I
different? You
think
wish you would
deep
have done something
down,
different.
I mean, I think deep down I do think it's wrong. Like it's like I guilt myself a lot.
Yeah. What do you think was wrong about it?
I don't know. And I know like you're not supposed to say that any food is bad, but in my head it's like, well, it's not the best choice, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
there is truth to that. So you want to acknowledge that your brain is trying to find certainty.
mm-hmm,
Yes, we can have pizza and cake, or
mm-hmm,
no, we cannot, right? It
yeah,
wants to know. Don't leave me in the gray, but the answer is always in
yes,
the gray.
yep.
So why is how about like how much you ate of it? Do you wish you would have changed that? Like if there was anything about it, do you think there should have been anything different about you eating pizza and cake?
Yeah, not I mean, I honestly like I feel like I did better than I would have before because I did feel like I had a big salad beforehand so that I maybe only had like one piece and then like a small piece of cake, but it just I don't know, like before I felt like if I ever ate anything that wasn't like planned or like
Mhm.
that it was like not even just planned, but like something that I know is a better choice, then I know that maybe I won't see any progress or I don't want to weigh myself then because I'm like, I'm guessing I gained like 2 pounds because of that. Like,
Mhm.
and it's just because I don't know, I went so long where it just stays or it just goes up. So I'm like terrified to like even look at the scale right now. I'm like, I don't want to look because that like I probably gained and I want to be losing. And
Mhm. Do
yeah,
you feel like you've gained?
I mean, I maybe after I ate that, I didn't feel the best. I felt maybe a little more like, I don't know, puffy, bloated, but
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, I feel like my clothes are okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just one piece of pizza and one piece of
Hmm.
cake.
Yeah.
It's not gonna derail you. Now, if you're
Yeah.
eating pizza and cake every day, that obviously doesn't make sense.
Right.
But the truth is, like, do you want to look back and say, I did never enjoyed pizza and cake at my kids' birthdays?
You're right. No.
Like, do you want to be able to do those things?
Yes.
Yeah.
So then it's like, why do I always feel so guilty about anything like that? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Why do you think you feel guilty?
I maybe just because I think of that as like something bad and
Hmm.
that will I don't know, in my head, I'm like, you're just derailing all the progress that you did the rest
Hmm.
of the days.
Hmm. In your head, you know that it's not true.
Yeah. Unless it's before my period and then I don't.
Because usually we're like, I know that that doesn't make sense, but yeah, I can't stop thinking it.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah.
So that's a belief that you have, right?
Okay.
You can't
Mhm.
have pizza and cake and lose weight. You
Yes.
can't have pizza and cake and feel how you want to feel in your body. Now,
Yes.
there's two truths to this is that if you have pizza and cake, will you feel a little different in your body than if you had kale and chicken breasts? You probably will, right? Just how
Mhm.
our body responds to it. But if you know that it's for this experience with the birthday party and you're having it this one day, and it's not an everyday occurrence, and this is how you want to live your life, then that's an even exchange, right?
Okay.
Like a little bit like less great in our body, maybe a little more puffy because of the types of foods, but you exchanged it for an experience that you wanted to have. And it's an experience that you want to have for the quality of your life.
Right.
Okay. And that's when you know that you've made the right choice.
Okay.
You now just have to continue to work on that belief that pizza and cake are not bad foods. They're different foods. They're foods that serve a different purpose. They're foods that make you feel a certain way and foods that you have occasionally, and they're not a problem.
Okay.
And they're never going to hurt you,
Yeah.
right? We're afraid this
Mhm.
one experience is going to like completely derail us and make us feel like a failure.
Yes.
Right? But you haven't actually failed because you were able to enjoy pizza. Well, you weren't able to enjoy it actually. That's why we
No.
want to work on this. You didn't
Yeah.
even enjoy it. Um, but you're exchanging it for the experience you want to have. And that's what you truly want is right, the experiences in your life and to feel good in your body and your choices.
Yes.
Right. And so that's what you want to keep working on and keep working towards. You don't have to fear pizza and ice or pizza and cake because when we fear it, it's like it has control over us.
Right.
Right. It's like, oh, that's the term. the determiner of my goals. Pizza and cake determine if I meet my goals or not all the other great things I've done this week, right? It
Right.
doesn't have that much value and that much weight.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Um, but so outside of that, are there other things going on in the week that maybe would be playing into not making progress?
I mean, I don't think so because I feel like I have gotten my workouts, I get my steps in, I get my water, and then like aside from those days, I do my best where eat, I plan it out in my tracker and I figure out my macros and but then it just seems like there's just like I have my kid's birthday and then or there's like a random like dinner invite and I I don't know. I feel like I do my best at each situation, but I just feel like, oh, it's just gonna put you back farther if you like go and have these experiences.
Oh, hold on. There we go. There you are. Um, so, well, okay, go back to the how many like experiences are you having? Just the one?
Well, yeah, we had a party. My son's like birthday party was Saturday, so I had like a piece of pizza that day and a small piece of his like ice cream cake. And then his actual birthday was yesterday, which we had family over and he wanted pizza again for his birthday. And so I
Mhm.
had that. So that was Sunday or Saturday and then yesterday, which was Tuesday. So then
Okay.
I'm just like, I need to avoid like, I don't know. I need to like go into a cave and not I don't know.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Um, but that being said, do you love the the choice on both days?
I don't love it. I feel like I did better than maybe I would have previously, where I didn't, I just, like I said, this time I tried to eat, eat more of a salad before and have a protein shake before. And so I didn't eat as much, but I don't
Mhm.
know. I just like really beat myself up about anything that's like not, it's like a food that I find, like you said, like it kind of has control where I just think it's bad. And so I
Mhm.
just I don't know. I just like beat myself up about it for like the whole day. Like, why did you do that? You're just ruining everything. So,
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, there's definitely some fear there, right? Like you're really scared of not reaching your goal and not having control.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, have you tried any of the tapping exercises yet that we did?
I did the day that we had it or the day after, but I guess I should maybe do that. Try it
Yeah,
again.
and I think when you're feeling like when you're going into those thought loops like, oh, you're never going to get this, like you shouldn't have done that, you're so bad. Um I want you to like after this call, like find a thought that is or like a mantra that is sorry, I'm just going to hit mute all and then unmute you. Hold on. And okay. Now Kayla unmute again.
Okay.
There you go. Um, so after this, or when you feel more calm and clear about your food choices and like that you are in control, you could think of like a mantra to use for those times when you go back into spiraling and thinking you're not in control and that you can't get your shit together or that that food is bad.
Yeah.
Um, and then tap through that.
Okay.
One thing you could do as well is do you ever use Chat GPT?
Um, no, I don't, but I could.
Um, I'm trying to think where I don't have any off the top of my head. Um, why don't I? So my Chat GPT is good. So I'll go into it after this, and then I'll send you some options to use.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Kelly.
Nope. Sorry, got my monitor up here. Okay. Um, so you'd be proud of me. I went shopping and I got a few
Oh,
new things. So
good.
that felt good. And yeah, I wore like a tank top this week, which I haven't really done in the past. So I was really proud of myself for that. And yeah, just kind of gave a little bit more thought to like why I've done that in the past and yeah, I don't know, making new choices feels a little scary, but also like really exciting and good.
Yeah, good.
Um, and I think my question for you right now is like, and I really related to a lot of the things Kayla had to say too. I feel like I do the same thing. So it was nice to hear everything you told her. But like things feel like they're going well. Like I I feel like I've kind of worked my way through the modules. And I mean, obviously that's how it's supposed to be. But like what should I be focusing on? Like I think because I'm such a like achiever, like Enneagram 3, like check all the boxes. I feel like because I don't feel worried or stressed about it, that like I should be like there should be something I'm working on at all times, like during the program. And
Mhm.
I think I'm struggling with the fact that like I'm doing it and it's going well. I don't know. It sounds so
And we're
dumb, but like,
still finding problems.
well, but I'm not finding problems. Like I'm really pleased, but I just like, is there something I should be doing, or just like keep
Yeah,
doing what I'm doing? That sounds boring. I guess I want it to like, I don't know. I want to give myself,
a
I want to
challenge.
challenge myself, I think a little
Okay.
bit,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
I'm like lifting more in the gym. But I don't want to obviously like hurt myself. I want to progressively, sorry, my baby just woke up too. I'm gonna have to go grab her in a second. But yeah, I don't know if there's any thoughts you have on that, or if I just need to like keep watching the calls, keep
Mhm.
um checking in with myself, keep doing the food logging, and um I've got a pretty good nighttime routine going on. Obviously there's days, but I'm not like beating myself up as much as I used to when I have like a bad afternoon
Mhm.
or a bad
Yeah.
day. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't know if
Um,
that's even a
so
question. I'm just
do
like
you
spewing.
do you feel like you are making changes like in the gym? You are getting stronger, you're lifting heavier?
Yeah, I mean, I think over the course of the last like 3 or 4 months, I do. I feel
Yeah.
like I think my cardio level could be better, but I've been walking, and I still go to a few cardio camps each week. And
Mhm.
I'm not gonna run a marathon anytime soon, but that's not really the goal. So yeah, I think that hang on, let me go grab the baby.
Yeah. Mm.
Okay.
Okay, so you were talking about workouts. You're doing cardio or like some cardio camps and whatnot.
Yep, some cardio camps. I don't know. I feel like I I mean, obviously I'd like to continue to see progress with like weight loss and muscle gain and fat loss, but
Mhm.
I know that stuff's gonna take time. Like I'm not trying
Mhm.
to go back to where I was, where I just like wasn't eating to try and lose weight. So I think that maybe it's just a patience thing. Like I just need to learn to be a
Do you
patient
feel
person.
do you feel like you're not seeing changes? Is that why you're
No, I
impatient?
feel like I am seeing changes. I mean,
Okay.
we would all love to like wake up tomorrow and it be like this
Mhm.
dream body, but I know like
Yeah.
realistic changes I am seeing.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a question for you. And I actually want you to ponder this. I don't want you to answer today.
Okay.
Are you looking for a struggle to know that you're doing it right?
Okay. I'll think about it.
Okay. Sometimes our nervous system wants to feel
We'll go get more.
pressure, wants to feel distracted, wants to feel like something. And if your nervous system isn't feeling the normal stress and the normal pull and the normal push, it's thinking that that's a problem, right? So it's like, you're not struggling. I don't think you're doing it all right. Okay.
Okay.
So think about that. Am I looking for a struggle, or am I questioning if I'm doing it right because I'm not struggling?
Okay.
Okay.
I'll ponder on that, and then I'll message you if I have any other questions.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No,
there's
you're
like
good.
convenient timing.
I
but
get it.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I appreciate
Yes,
it.
you're welcome. All right. Who else wants coaching? I think the right Kristen is here now. Kristen, I did go over the baseball question earlier in the call. So, if you want to listen to the replay, you can on that, or if you want to talk something through on it, you can raise your hand and we can talk more about it. All right, Jennifer.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Good. Say, what I'm struggling with, and I put this in my weekly report, is that because I'm working and seeing clients and on phone calls and so forth, I often don't get my mid-morning snack. And so at lunch, I'm trying to eat eggs and chicken and clementines and beans, just like all of this food to the point where I'm combining the mid-morning snack and the lunch
Okay.
together. And then at night, I'm combining the mid-afternoon snack with the dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And, you were talking about level 10 out of full, and I'm trying to get all of my calories in because I'm in the reverse diet stage. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Okay. Is it in your food journal that I can look at?
No, it's in the weekly update that I just was saying that
Are you logging those meals though?
I'm logging not as consistently as I should, but
Like on Monday, was this a day that you would have done that?
let me bring up my log. I'll usually get my breakfast and lunch in, but maybe not my dinner.
There is a dinner on Monday.
Okay. Okay, so yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's
And
take a
on
look
this
at
day,
Monday.
would that have been your lunch that you were really feeling full? Or which
So
one?
for breakfast, I logged it differently than how it actually happened. I had the flush smoothie and the
Okay.
green tea. But
Okay.
then for lunch, I'm having the quick oats, the blueberries, the chicken,
Oh.
the Bolt House ranch on the chicken, the beans,
Mm-hmm.
and then I did have the protein shake that I mentioned there. I did have that in the afternoon, so I was able to mix that up real quick. Actually, I think I
Okay.
had it on my way home. So I'm
Okay.
just having a hard time eating during the day other than at lunchtime. And so
Okay.
then I'm ending up a little bit short. You could see on Monday, I ended up about 300 calories short of where I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm
Mhm.
so full. It's just like,
Yeah.
I'm never hungry anymore because of all of the protein.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Let me look at your protocol quick.
I'm up to the 1,800 calories at this point.
Oh, you are. Okay. Are you on phase 3? Yeah. Okay.
Well, I've gone through the flush,
Yeah.
gut health, reverse diet.
Okay. So what time are you having dinner?
To be honest, it ends up being about 7:30 usually
Okay.
by the time we eat.
Okay. So I would try to have that, like what you're doing in the afternoon, you're getting that smoothie in there so you can kind of drink it in between clients. So
Mhm.
keep that in there. And then your flush smoothie, are you putting juice in that one?
I am. Yeah.
Okay. Leave the juice out. And then put your oats in instead of the juice.
Put it right in the smoothie.
Yep.
Okay.
Just dry. You
Yeah.
don't have to cook them, just dry, and it'll grind it up there for you. And then that way you're just getting a carbohydrate that isn't as quick absorbing as like a juice is. A juice is going to spike your blood sugar. And actually, for anyone listening, when you're done with the flush, if you want to keep doing the flush smoothies afterwards, you can, but you want to take the juice out. We just want to have juice during the flush phase. So take the juice out, and that should help you get carbs in. You might be a little bit low on that, but that's okay.
And then
And then
substitute
your
just
smoothie.
water.
Yep, just water. And then what protein are you using for that?
When I do the flush smoothie, I'm using up the what is it? Pure this
The Metapure.
Metapure. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. 1 scoop of that.
Just 1 scoop. Yeah.
Okay. How much left? How much do you have left of that?
Probably a fourth of a can.
Okay. So you're almost done. What do you plan to use after that?
So I do have vanilla and chocolate of the Orgain that's
Okay.
available at Costco.
Okay. Let me just look at that quick. What I probably am going to tell you is to do 1.5 scoops,
Okay.
and that will get your protein up without being like feeling like you're consuming more food. And then you'll be able to get closer to those numbers, and you'll be able to cut out one of those snacks.
Perfect. Perfect.
And then as far as like your evening meal on that day, like when I just as an example, your protein, don't be afraid to bump that up just a little bit. So like your ground hamburger, like
Mhm.
maybe do 5 ounces. That'll get your calories up and it won't feel like you're eating significantly more. And then like the Miracle noodles,
I'm never having those again. That was awful.
those are gross. Are they the palm hearts or something like that?
No, it's some sort of flour that starts with a K. I've never heard of it before,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
it's got a horrible texture to it. I will not. I just thought I'd try it. It was awful.
So, instead of that, like if you don't have a gluten, you're not doing gluten because you're on a gut protocol.
I'm on the gut protocol. Yeah.
Yeah. So you
I'm
could do like,
avoiding gluten most of the time still.
okay. So you could do like chickpea noodles because those will have protein in them and they have a little carbohydrate in them too. And they have a good fiber source. So don't look for, it's really easy to think like, oh, this is a healthy food because it says there's maybe no net carbs or whatever it is, or it
Mhm.
has a lot of fiber that it says, whatever the package says, right? Like sometimes those things are like just, they're taking up space in your belly and they're just not even giving anything back to you, right? They're just
I-
like making you feel full and it's not a useful food. And you can
Okay.
just have pasta.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So is like a cheese stick or something easier like that I could maybe slip in for lunch? Is that considered clean?
Yeah. Yeah. You can
Okay.
have, yeah, cheese sticks are fine. Beef sticks are fine. Now, are they like technically processed? Yes. But you would look at the food label and be like, oh, it's just milk and some salt. Like that's fine.
Oh,
When you look at like a beef stick, it's usually when you get a cleaner version. So like Nick's I like and Chomps I like. Usually if you go to the health food section, they'll have cleaner ones like the Jack's Links and stuff. Those are a little sketchy, but
right.
if you pay a little bit more for your beef stick, it's typically just beef and like some salt. So then
Okay.
that's fine.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yep. Those
All
are
right.
okay.
I appreciate your help.
Yes.
Thank
If you get stuck on anything else, let me know.
I will.
And then also for anybody else, if you like let's say you're having a day when you're pre-tracking your foods and you feel kind of stuck and you're like, whatever the issue is, I can't get this to work out, or what should I have for dinner, or anything that like Jennifer just said, I can't get all my calories in, but I can't have snacks today because I am back to back on meetings. Just send me a message because I can just log into your journal and say, okay, this is what I would do with this. And maybe even that day you're not able to fix it because it's like too late. You got all your food at work and everything's already planned. But if I can sit down and be like, okay, this is your day, this is what I would do different, or this is something that you can try. then you start to take that and apply it to the next time you get kind of in a pickle, and you learn that way. So don't be afraid to message me or even Chris Ann to say, can you look at my journal? What would you do differently to make this make more sense for me? Okay, we got a little bit of time. Does anybody else want coaching today? Friday, tomorrow, or no, 2 days, Friday, we have another nervous system workshop with Chris Ann. She's going to walk us through some muscle relaxation, kind of like I think a guided imagery type of workshop. So that's at noon on Friday. You should be registered for it. If you can't come live, that's fine. It will be recorded and then uploaded into the nervous system tools course for you. All right. Give you another minute here. All right. I'm going to assume you're all good. So I will see you all on Friday, maybe not, but then I'll see you next week, Wednesday. Okay. Have a good week. Bye-bye.